has been the most insane past couple of days in the video game industry. We have seen so many things transpire in the last few days that people honestly have no idea what's going to be happening in the future of gaming at all, where things are going, how things are going to proceed, and what's going to happen with one of the big three players in the gaming space, basically known as Xbox, or shall I say, Microsoft Gaming. You see, we've seen everything happen from Halo being announced to being on PlayStation 5, especially with the Campaign Evolved remake. I've had my own thoughts about what that's going to look like, and honestly, check out that video after this one. I've got some pretty scathing remarks on the entire thing. But we've also seen things like the White House go around and make actual AI imagery of ending the console war. We've seen GameStop say the exact same thing, and all of this simply because Microsoft is taking a very drastic and different approach to what has been so synonymous with gaming themselves, having exclusivity in order to go through and provide a unique value proposition, or UVP, to make you buy the box. Instead, what they're doing now is they're taking the entire industry and turning it on its head. What do I mean by that? Well, basically, they're going to turn everybody who plays on Xbox, whether it's on the service or even on their device, into a PC gamer. No, don't touch me. Don't hug me. You're not... No. Gross. And yes, even with all the memes aside, things are in fact looking a bit strange in gaming, and people really don't know how to make heads or tails of it, because this kind of thing could truly change the entire landscape, especially with how you obtain or even play your video games in the first place, and what the actual true competitor of Xbox and gaming actually is. According to Discussing Film on Twitter, Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty reveals that part of the reason that Xbox exclusive games are going to PS5 is, quote, "Our biggest competition isn't another console. We are competing more and more with everything from TikTok to movies. Source is the New York Times." Now, this, for some reason, confused a lot of people on the internet, even bigger accounts not understanding what is in fact happening. And all of that truly falls back to what Xbox's biggest problem has always been, basically every single generation, and that is messaging. It's never been good or clear. The real thing that Matt Booty is talking about isn't directly competing with TikTok or with movies, it's competing with people's time. And right now, TikTok and other social media aspects are removing people's time away from playing things like video games and etc. We've all seen the memes where everyone is doom scrolling on their phone, or even doom scrolling through their Steam library, trying to figure out what to play, yet instead turning around and just watching a YouTube video instead. And very rarely do games come around that truly spark actual enjoyment out of that person to play that video game and actually enjoy it in the first place. Expedition 33, you should definitely play that. And I really feel like everybody trying to dogpile on Microsoft honestly has a lot of short-term memory, or even goldfish memory, because even ex-heads of PlayStation said it themselves. According to Newsweek, ex-PlayStation head says video game industry is losing the next generation to TikTok, with the quote from Sean Layden directly saying this: "It was more money from the same people, and this is the existential threat I talk about when I'm meeting with developers and publishers, that you're just getting more money off the same people. It's a business model, I understand, and you understand, and that's fine, but we're not growing the next generation. We're losing the next generation to TikTok. The competition for gaming isn't Xbox and Nintendo, it's everything else in the freaking zeitgeist that can take your time away from gaming activity." Hold on a second, isn't that a bit strange how last year in December we had Sean Layden, who ran PlayStation, which everybody loved the PlayStation 4 apparently. Not me though, I think the PS2 is the best PlayStation. That's just me though. And everybody basically just agreed with his assessment. Oh yes, TikTok is a huge factor for a lot of people, and yeah, we are not growing the industry the way we want to, so yeah, sure, we gotta figure out about how to get more money from people, and we're doing the same business model we've always done. Sean Layden says it, and it's basically just the right thing to hear. Matt Booty basically says the same thing, and everybody apparently loses their mind, even though they're both in fact Correct. You're looking at so many other ways of losing your time from video games. We've seen so many other ex-CEOs talk about the fight for the living room, basically just admitting how completely out of touch they are. People aren't looking for that anymore. What they're looking for now is having access to every library, to every game, to not being tied to one platform. And we've had this for decades on the PC space. I've talked about this at length on this channel and even on multiple places, how PC gaming truly is far and above beyond what it provides to the consumer, and yet for some reason people still try to avoid it like the plague. I guess just having to press 2 buttons or 2 mouse clicks to do something is kind of scary to a lot of people, but I digress. But the thing is though, this is what Xbox is looking at. Again, what they're trying to do is place themselves in a position for more people to either sign up for their services or play their games. And what's going to happen now is they need to make more money than ever, because we talked about it before, how Amy Hood is in fact looking for a 30% profit return on everything that Xbox in fact does. So how are they going to do that? Well, they're going to increase their market share, they're going to increase their monthly active users, and they're going to increase the users that either buy the games or sign up to their service. So every game will in fact be on every platform. The big question now though is what's going to happen to next generation, and how is Xbox going to differentiate themselves from the competition? And honestly, it's not going to be exclusivity. It's going to be something that in my opinion nobody is really prepared for. Not even Xbox. According to Hazardor Gaming on Twitter, Windows Central reports on the next generation of Xbox console. No multiplayer paywall. Feels like a traditional console. Natively running games currently available on Xbox Series consoles, as well as backwards compatibility titles. As my old grandpappy used to say, or abuelito, now we're cooking with peanut oil. This is what we're actually talking about. Now, there has also been a couple of things going on with this next generation of console, which I have some concerns about, and we'll talk about those soon. But this could be a massive differentiator in the gaming space. We're looking at a box, a simplified area of the possibility to go through and have backwards compatibility, access to every single storefront, and the ability to play every game across every single platform. And that would possibly even include PlayStation games on an Xbox. But if Xbox can pull this off, if there are things in the pipeline that could make this work, we could be seeing a different kind of competition. Competition where it is best for the consumer. Competition where the device and the features are lined up more than just exclusives being held back behind the box that you have to then pay for to gain access to. Instead, you now have access to your library across any specific device. A true pro-consumer move. The difference though is, can they pull it off? Or we'll see what happens in the article from Windows Central and go from there. According to Jez Corden, Microsoft's ambitious new Xbox, your entire Xbox console library, the full power of Windows PC gaming, and no multiplayer paywall. The new Xbox platform is said to be a premium experience, and now we have some details on what it'll look like. Where the Xbox console will differ from a traditional Windows PC is that it will feel like a traditional Xbox console out of the box. The onboarding experience will be similar to what you get today on console, and if you choose, you can remain fully inside the Xbox ecosystem, never touching Windows itself. Exiting out to Windows will be for those who want to access games traditionally not available on Xbox, including PlayStation games on Steam, mouse and keyboard first games like League of Legends, or even classic games from GOG and the like. And this is where I think Xbox may in fact truly be cooking, if you want to use that really weird meme-ass term. The thing is though, Xbox did in fact send me an Asus ROG Ally X. Yeah, I just sent the DM and I got one. That's basically how it works. I've got a review coming in a couple of days. I'm just working on some final kinks on it, so stay tuned for the channel or subscribe if you want to see that here from a PC gamer's perspective. But there are some concerns that I have with this and what they've been doing with Windows specifically. Look, If they do not get the UI right on this thing, that's going to be a massive problem. And my biggest concern with the Ally X and the Ally itself has been the UI. Personally, right now, Steam Big Picture Mode is what I start up with, and it's the only thing I really use on this device. And if Xbox actually wants me to start using their Game Pass service or their Xbox PC app or buy games on their platform, then they have to figure out better ways of enticing me to either A, buy that premium piece of hardware, or B, go through and provide a better user experience overall. However, though, if what Jez is saying is correct, and there is no Windows bloatware like you saw with the Ally X on startup, and there is no weird things to deal with like Microsoft Teams or Outlook or weird-ass telemetry on that device for that console, you could be seeing a lot of people who were saying, this is not an Xbox, go through and actually enjoy their console and have access to every game on every library. They are, in fact, turning console gaming into PC gaming without all of the hassle that people in fact don't want to deal with, whether or not it's dealing with Windows itself or just not understanding what PC gaming in fact actually is. But there's still more. Let's keep going. Jez continues by saying you will be able to run PlayStation's PC titles like God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, and Spider-Man on the new Xbox, purchased via Steam or Epic Games. You will be able to play World of Warcraft on the next Xbox via Battle.net. You will also be able to install practically any game that runs on Windows, giving you access to decades upon decades of content all on a single device. Microsoft is working hard across the Xbox and Windows teams to optimize the platform for TVs and controllers, bringing the quote original Windows in the living room vision from the OG Xbox to fruition after 25 years. Furthermore, thanks to new silicon from AMD, already approved all the way up to CFO Amy Hood and CEO Satya Nadella, the new Xbox will also run all games currently available on the Xbox Series X and S library. This means all the OG Xbox back-compatible games, all the 360 back-compatible games, all the Xbox One back-compatible games, and all the current and future Xbox Series X and S games. These games will run natively on the new Xbox and launch seamlessly via the Xbox Launcher's library. Now, if those few paragraphs are in fact true, that could be the biggest thing that people who did not like the Asus ROG Ally X or Ally devices really talked about, that it didn't play their Xbox games. But if this console gives access to a lot of gamers who don't have a PC library or can't play specific games on Steam or that only launch in that space or in different other stores like GOG as well as Epic, this could be a good thing for everybody in that space. Being able to access all those AA and indie games that you can't get anywhere else because the developers are either too small to put their games on other platforms, they can only afford to put it on Steam at that moment in time, and so many other breadths and depths of libraries that they can actually play and games to play on. One of the key things though in that paragraph that Jez wrote was talking about PlayStation games, how so many fanboys have been talking incessantly about how PlayStation will be blocking this access to this next generation console. Whether or not that will happen, I truly do not know. But as of right now, this is an Xbox branded Asus ROG Ally X, and I can in fact play PlayStation games on this Xbox branded device. If things don't change, like they haven't changed here, then you could be seeing a very different gaming industry and a very different game altogether being played by Microsoft and Xbox, and that could be a huge linchpin moving forward. But things may get even crazier still. The article continues by saying this: right now, I'm told the current plan is for the next Xbox specifically to have no paywall for multiplayer. It wouldn't make a lick of sense for a quote-unquote PC to have paid multiplayer, particularly since it would create a strong incentive for players to simply install Steam instead of use the Xbox ecosystem on that device for online games. It remains to be seen if that plan actually plays out into reality, though. Now, this, in my opinion, is going to be the long shot in the dark, and honestly, I don't really know what's going to be happening. However, if this actually happens, where Microsoft no longer charges for online access in their video games for multiplayer because it is going to be, in fact, a PC, you're going to be seeing a very, very different gaming industry altogether, and a very aggressive Microsoft, in my personal opinion. The fact is that they were the ones who brought into the limelight charging for online multiplayer. They were the ones who pioneered that entire thing, and many people will make the argument saying, Alex, well, they've been doing it for so long, it's basically free money, why would they in fact remove it? Now, the hopeful person in me basically says, look, it's pretty much a PC. That's what you're going to be getting. And if you're getting a PC, like Jez Corden said, why would you even use the Xbox app if you have to pay for online? You'd simply just boot into Windows, avoid the Xbox experience altogether, and have that overall. Skip that entirely. So that could make some sense. However, though, a lot of people may not in fact do that because they may be too scared to try it on their own. So I really don't know what could happen. The optimist and PC gamer in me says is that Xbox should 100% in fact remove the online payment requirement for accessing the internet on your already console purchase device. We shouldn't have to pay for the internet you already pay for. And if they do that, that would be a massively huge pro-consumer move for anyone getting onto that platform or even using that device in the first place. But you see, what I find really funny about this are the actual reactions happening online to all of this news. You see, 5 days ago, Paul Tassi in fact tweeted this: yeah, Xbox won't exist in 5 years, after quote tweeting a statement by Noble saying that Microsoft pushes to hit higher profit margins of 30%, which are well above the industry average. So yeah, Xbox won't exist in the next 5 years, right, Paul? I mean, there isn't any way that you saw this news and thought, wow, this is kind of cool. Right? Paul Tassi then yesterday quote tweeted Noble as well, saying, this actually sounds very good, potentially. All right, so I want to know which one is it going to be, boys. I want to know which one is it going to be. Are they going to be gone in 5 years? Or does this sound really cool, potentially? Because it's really funny how we are in the cycle of Ekbok dead, Ekbok back, baby. Ekbok dead, Ekbok back, baby. Ekbok dead. Ekbok back, baby. It's always that kind of thing for some particular reason. You can never just have a good string of news with Xbox. It's either they're dead or they're back, or they're dead or they're back again. And really, with all of this news, even seeing people like Paul Tassi, who were claiming Xbox is dead, turn right back around and be like, hey, wait, this has a lot of potential. It could be a good way of trying to convince people who never thought about buying an Xbox because exclusives in the first place are providing them actual unique value in the device itself or even in the service itself. However, though, this isn't all good news because there is a lot of criticism that I have with this new device and even with what Xbox's plan is for the future. You see, number one is going to be the price. We've heard things like Sarah Bond say it's a premium experience. We want this to be a thing for everybody. It's going to be curated, and that could mean a lot of things. The rumors going around saying it could be about $1,000 or even more, and I could kind of also expect that as well. In my opinion, though, consoles should not be exceeding the $500 barrier mark, mostly because what you're looking at right now is the fact that consoles are most normally for people who are just getting into gaming casually, and spending that kind of money on that kind of premium device, whether it's $700 or more, really does kind of put a sting on a lot of people. We saw that happen with the PS3, we see it happen with the PS5 Pro, and then even with the price increases as well. I would not be happy with a $1,000 console in the market. That would basically make every other PC manufacturer also increase the prices as well. I'm looking at you, AMD and Nvidia. And to make matters even crazier, we're going to be looking at who the actual competitor is for Microsoft and Xbox. And there's a reason why I put Microsoft first in that statement. You see, PlayStation is not Microsoft's competitor. No, and I've said this in multiple videos already. Microsoft's biggest competitor is Valve. And the reason why is because of SteamOS. The way Bazite has been moving, the way SteamOS has been operating, the market share that the Steam Deck has had in the actual handheld market, and really just the insanity of people just saying, I'm done with Windows and I'm leaving it altogether. Again, one of the big complaints people had with this device was just booting up Windows in the first place. For some reason, it makes people just kind of like ick themselves whenever they see that little start menu bar on the bottom left. Why? I don't know. I guess I've just been PC gaming too long, but hey, I use both Linux and Windows, and honestly, they're both fine, so whatever. But I think that's really what Xbox and Microsoft are looking at, reducing that actual market share, leaving Windows altogether and going to other competitor platforms like either SteamOS, Linux themselves, or even, dare I say, Mac as well. They don't want to lose that market share whether or not it's in the enterprise space, in the gaming console space, or even in the casual consumer space. And if they can offer you a device that has all that capability, but also give you that same capability inside of your actual OS, whether or not it's on your phone, whether or not it's actually on your PC or any other device as well, and still play your library, that's what they're looking for, a consistent revenue stream across any device, no matter the platform. And I think that's going to be the part that people are truly missing. Now, there are some terrors because of that, seeing as how Xbox will try to control everything with that gaming space and dictate how you can actually play your video games as well in the future. We've seen things like Xbox not providing the full game on the disc, with Doom being a perfect example. We've seen how digital is becoming more and more ubiquitous with them, how more games are no longer being put on the disc themselves physically, even on the PlayStation side as well. And so we've also seen their giant push for subscription services, where basically you will own nothing and you will be happy and live in a pod and eat the bugs. And I think that's going to be one of the big contentious areas, because going into the PC space, one of the big areas people really love is their actual ownership of digital products. And that's going to be a difficult hurdle for them to overcome, especially with how great Steam is. What Xbox has to do is take multiple pages out of Steam's playbook and look at all the growing pains Steam had to go through in order to say, hey, how do we avoid these pitfalls? How do we avoid these problems? And use them as an actual barometer of what to do in certain decisions to make the best choice for the actual customer and consumer. If they don't do that, they'll never pull any market share from Steam at all. And they'll keep losing actual users to SteamOS and Bazzite and Linux if they don't do the right thing. Now, granted, this is all based off of Jez Corden's report, but if these things are in play, you could be seeing a very different gaming landscape for next generation, and things could be looking in a very different way. Microsoft isn't fighting a war in one front for consoles. They're fighting a war in multiple fronts, dare I even say, across every single device and platform that is taking away your time from them. They want for you to go to them first for your entertainment, and that is why they are pushing to fight against things like TikTok and movies and TVs and YouTube and every other platform as well. They said, you don't want to buy our console? We'll put our games there. You'll buy them then, and they sure should prove that correct. And that's the scary part about all of this, because you're now looking at a $4 trillion company that is trying to put their tendrils into everything. So who honestly knows what will happen next gen? But what I do know is if this console comes out the way it's supposed to and it actually operates in the right way, we could be seeing a very different Xbox and a very different Microsoft moving forward. And that's going to be a wild thing to see. So with all that being said, I want to know what you guys think. Is Jez right about this? Is this actually going to happen? Or do you think this is all just a big pipe dream? I want to know in the comment section down below and see what you guys have to say. So if you want to see more of this kind of content, more of my hot takes in the gaming industry, gaming news, PC port reviews, Steam Deck videos, and soon to be ROG Ally videos as well. Gonna work on a review for hopefully the end of this week, maybe. Don't quote me on that one. Emulation videos for this as well, and some great stuff too. Subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 96,000 subs, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access or most during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to go ahead and spend the buck, don't worry about it. Just show up Saturday nights, 8:45 live right here on this channel, where I get insulted by 800 people with AITTS while wearing a banana suit. And now I have a voice changer to make myself sound like a Dommy Mommy. It's a hell of a show, trust me. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!